Hey there friends, Dave Paulides, CanAm Missing Project. Copyrighted edition for our video channel. And this is a missing persons segment. And I'd say every 3 or 4 videos I always get, hey Dave, what's that poster next to you? As if I don't talk about it too much, and I probably do. But this is our latest movie, Missing 411, The UFO Connection. Rated one of the highest ranked UFO movies that's ever come out. And I don't make a lot of assumptions, hypotheses. I just lay out a lot of facts for you, and I let you come to your own conclusions. And I think it has a lot of people thinking out there. And just in the last 5 months or so, I've had a lot of people tell me about the UFOs they've seen when they've been in the woods. And this movie has a lot of hunting stories about what hunters have seen. And that triangular UFO there, I never said that that was alien or extraterrestrial. How do you know that it's not our government? And therein lies something that has not been spoken about too much. But that's okay. A lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about these kind of things, but that's okay. Just saying. So somebody, his name is Big John, sent me this. I want to read it to you. Hey Dave, I got a couple things for you. Angie and Huck. I will not waste your time, but I lost my father to suicide when I was 7. I'm not going to tell you how to feel or how Ben feels, like every other expert out there does. I just wanted to say you're not alone, and thank you for the knowledge and wisdom. Thanks, Big John. P.S. The outside outdoor missing segment was awesome. Glad to know Michigan doesn't have all the idiot drivers. And Big John, he's got a good sense of humor, sent us a Bigfoot doll. Bigfoot. A Bigfoot cup. And I like it because it's nice and big. Then he sent us this really cool box. Very cool little box. But very thoughtful of Big John. Thank you very much, John. And we're into the summer. End of May, beginning of June. And I cannot even tell you. I think I have 18 flights in the next 2.5 months. It's a crazy summer. And I was able to find some time in there to get away and go fishing, which is good. But all those flights are for business related issues that are near and dear to your heart. I can't tell you much about it, but I'm still working hard for you, trying to put something out there that's worthy of you seeing, whether it's a video, a YouTube, whatever. I'm always trying. And the 3 things I put out every week: missing persons videos, a Skinwalker Ranch video, and a news segment video. I just heard an interesting thing on the news that many people, in fact, I heard that it was 56% of the population, 56%, doesn't know that it's a fact that the Biden family has gotten more than $10 million from the Chinese government. I heard that number, I couldn't believe it. There are people out there who don't know that. But it's true. And I'm not going to go into the politics, and I don't talk about Democrats and Republicans on my news broadcasts. I just lay out the facts for you. But it's amazing how many people don't really know what's going on around them in the world. And we're in the most sensitive time of our lifetime with our Constitution. And the missing people side of it may be part of it. We don't know. And there's been a lot of talk that there's a huge UFO issue that's coming quickly. What do I mean by that? There's some people that said that there's a false flag coming, meaning that, let's just say, 5 classic UFOs fly over and hover over the White House. But those UFOs might belong to our government. That's why they're saying it's a false flag. And they're saying this is supposedly to distract us from what's happening in other parts of the world and to take our focus off of that and focus on the UFOs. I think that might work. I think a lot of people would be very interested. I have no idea if it's true, but there's a lot of banter out there, more than I've ever heard about this. So if you're out there and suddenly hear that, there's a big mass UFO event somewhere, I wouldn't get too excited about it. Just saying. I'd probably get way more excited and nervous if I was alone in the woods and one of them was hovering above me. That might make me nervous. Now, how many people out there, but you ask yourself this, do you or do you know somebody else who has seen a UFO in the wilds of some country? Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada, Germany, Poland, Italy, some of the places that people write to me regularly from. And all of those countries I just said, people have seen UFOs in the middle of nowhere. And why is that important? Because it's a worldwide issue. It's not a USA issue. It's not a Canadian issue. And I think that is, in the grand scheme of things, important. Now, there's a lot of people out there, and maybe you're not even here, but there's a lot of people out there that don't want anything to do with the UFO topic. Don't talk about it, Dave. Leave it alone. I feel sorry for those people. That's all I can say. Feel very sorry for them. So let's get into some letters. First one is one of you guys out there sent me an article that I thought was fascinating. Now, I don't like getting YouTube's, Dave, watch this. I don't have time to watch it. Articles, I could screen just about any article in less than a minute. YouTube's, you can't do that. I'm not interested in watching anybody's, oh, you gotta hear this person's story. Don't care, don't want to know it. There's a lot of people out there that just like to listen to other people's stories. True or not, they like to hear them. I get that. I'm not one of those people, because I know that 90% of the stories out there on YouTube are all lies. So why would I want to waste my time listening to somebody else lie? Just saying. Okay, so this is the first story. This is ABC 13 News, Virginia, WSET. This is May 4th, 2023. Baby wild ponies are vanishing from Grayson Highlands State Park. That's interesting. They're vanishing, said Jerry Ward on his phone. He was talking about the baby wild ponies missing from Grayson Park and the surrounding area. Caring for the wild ponies at the park is a hard job, Ward, president of the Wilburn Ridge Pony Association, is passionate about. The Pony Association owns and manages the wild ponies, but the responsibility of managing the ponies has become much more difficult and frustrating over the past few days. Baby wild ponies are disappearing from the state park and the several thousand acres of national forest lands the ponies live on. Ward thinks there are several options for what the culprit is for the vanishings, Behind each possibility is a dangerous wild animal. Quote, could be a bear, mountain lion, pack of coyotes, Ward said, voicing his frustration with the situation. Bobcats could also be irresponsible. On April 26th, the wild ponies took more public spotlight than usual when the Grayson County Sheriff shared a photo of one of the deputies holding an injured pony in his arms. He's walking with it like this. Ward said they named the pony Bear because of the bite marks that caused the injuries. But while Bear's picture is heartwarming, it needs additional context of what's actually happening to these ponies. Ward described riding with his daughter to check on the ponies a few days ago, and she started crying when she saw how many colts were missing. Well, that's weird. The attack ponies are lucky and escaped with injuries. More than a few didn't make it and are gone. At least 5 of the baby ponies he saw days ago have since disappeared. Ward said they often weigh only 80 pounds and don't have to come up, and some don't even come up to your waist. That size would be easy for a bear or mountain lion to attack, as a handful of missing baby ponies clearly suggests. But Ward worries the predator won't just stop at the wild ponies. Now, this story doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to explain why. You don't have to be a great tracker to figure out what's going on with these ponies. First of all, they had some pictures in here of some of the ponies with some serious injuries along the right back portion of the leg, kind of low. And most predators that we think of in the woods, mountain lions, bears, would jump on the back and take the animal by the neck. That low injury on the right thigh, 2 very deep gashes almost parallel to each other. Very strange. Very strange. Now, the person who sent me this also sent me, or stated that there were Bigfoot sightings in this area. Well, I did do some homework, and there was. And it was about 9 years ago, the sighting. But the point was, there is a sighting in this area. And my guess is that there have been many more sightings in this area. But why the sudden uptick of missing ponies? I don't know. And I'm not sure what's going on there. And I'm not discounting anything. But again, if you look, the title is Baby Wild Ponies Are Vanishing from Grayson Highland State Park in Virginia. You Google that and you can get to the photos. Thanks for forwarding that. Next article. Hey, good morning, Dave. I greatly appreciate your team's diligence in putting together your video content. I enjoy your informative and entertaining Bigfoot, Skinwalker Ranch, and UFO segments. The factual news videos are difficult to watch in that they are unfiltered and reveal aspects of our world that most would prefer to remain blissfully ignorant. I can't say that your missing persons segments could be categorized as enjoyable, since they focus on real-life, gut-wrenching tragedy. The victims of these disappearances are real people, sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, and best friends to other real people. Their loss shattered many lives. Thank you for the respect you show those individuals and for keeping memory of the missing alive. My one and only personal UFO sighting is a little different from others I've heard. I've considered sharing with you for some time and finally got around to do it. I won't go into great detail in this message, but will be glad to send more specifics. My incident occurred on a Saturday evening in mid-October 95-96, opening day of early rifle season in western Colorado, Montrose to be specific. A younger friend of mine had a deer tag. I was tagging along as an extra pair of eyes and an assist with the pack out in case he was successful. I was carrying a rifle and a bear tag just in case. We hunted all day. My legs were toast by the end of the day and headed back to the truck before legal shooting light evaporated with my friend wanting to climb one or more stocky, rocky hill. Let me explain. If you're not a hunter, you don't really get this. But when you shoot a deer and you clean out the deer, you want that deer emptied of all of its guts as quickly as possible so you don't spoil the meat. So more times than not, you go out with a deer tag and a bear tag, because once you gut the deer, take the deer, either put it in the car, truck, that gut pile right there, it's like an early warning signal to the bear, come have dinner. And a lot of bears are really smart. I mean, super smart. They hear the gunfire and they'll start moving that way. A lot of bears will sit back because they know that rifle's dangerous, and they'll watch until you're done cleaning that deer. You move away, the bear will come in and take out the gut pile. It happens a lot. A lot of hunters will back out, wait for the bear to come in, and then you have your bear for the season. It's kind of the way it goes. So I made it to his truck without having to use a flashlight and sat down on the tailgate with a fresh bottle of water. As the sun set behind the plateau to the rear, I was facing west, watching the silhouette of the Cimarron Ridge to the east. There were a pair of airplanes moving along the top of Bostwick Park, right to the left, north and south. I couldn't tell how far away they were, but all I could see were their lights. Nothing unusual until the rear lights stopped moving. It was then I realized that the rear airplane only had a single non-flashing white light, which appeared larger than those on the forward craft. The lead airplane had the customary red blinking light at the front and white blinking light at the rear. The craft continued north with no perceived change in speed or elevation. Its companion was dead still in the sky for 10 to 12 seconds before accelerating at an unbelievable rate to once again to be on the right on the tail of the leading object. It'd be pretty cool to see. I now was looking through my binoculars at the two aircraft. They were close enough to each other to appear in the field of view by 8x40 binocs, but too far away to gain much perspective. The two objects continued along the same trajectory for only a few seconds before the trailing one moved almost instantaneously 180 degrees back toward the south without coming to a stop during the change in direction. I had to put down the binocs to see both aircraft at the same time. While the lead plane never wavered, the trailing craft once again rapidly changed its position till it was directly above the blinking white light plane. After another 4 to 5 seconds of matching the speed of the plane, the unusual light paused momentarily before shooting well ahead of the blinking lights and stopping once again dead still. It then dropped slightly in elevation, then up and to the south at a significantly higher speed than the plane was moving at, but not in the blink of an eye. I'd estimate it was moving well over twice the speed of what I had assumed to have been the commuter plane it was following. The single white light then, best I can describe as a series of instantaneous curly cues before shooting straight up and disappearing into the darkening sky. The entire episode lasted a couple of minutes. There was no cloud cover, very low humidity. Stars were coming out. It was not completely dark. The lights I observed did not appear to be directional, but the visual could be likened to a shining laser pointer against a gray light wall. I'm sure others have witnessed similar things. I just haven't heard anything involving what I could view as similar reference object being interacted with by an unknown object in question. Again, I can give more specifics if you want. That was a pretty good visual. That'd be pretty neat to see, actually. They were in a pretty remote area, so even seeing an airplane out there would be a little odd, I think. Thanks for the report. Next one. Hey, Dave. The case of little Brayton Ackerman is so mind-blowing. Brayton, the little boy whose family was fishing on a bridge, and they turned around for a second or two, turned back, he's gone, he's nowhere. That Brayton was taken so quickly in close proximity to his parents is a scary proposition. Whatever is perpetrating this crime is so very close to the victim, yet invisible, undetectable, with no physical attributes to discern. The entity traits are very contrary to ours. It is absolutely cunning, ruthless, and cold without love or caring. This tragedy that happened to little Brayton is so unfair and extremely sad for the suffering family. My heart goes out to the Ackermans. I wonder, does this evil stick around to watch the searchers, knowing their efforts will be in vain? These 411 cases have made it difficult to go hiking with my wife into wilderness areas. My wife is from northern Peru, grew up on a farm there. Her father and our local people would speak of an evil spirit, Diablo, lurking in the countryside. Diablo in Spanish? Devil. Because of your investigations with missing people, I know there is something evil in the wilderness. My awareness is at a heightened level when we are exploring it. Smart. Now, I'm going to say this like I do almost every time. If you're hiking alone in the wilderness, carry a personal locator beacon. Carry a personal locator beacon. You can buy them online. Amazon has them. Go to REI, they have them. Almost every major sporting goods store has them. Now, what subgroup of the missing has the least number of personal locator beacons? Hunters. I know there's a lot of hunters watching. Why you people do not carry them is beyond me. It's stupidity. It is pure stupidity. They say, I've been a lawman, or I've been a hunter for 100 years, and I've never gotten lost. Nothing's going to happen to me. Well, you know what, folks? I have 11 books, 1,500 people that said the same thing you just said. Never going to happen to me. Pure stupidity. I'll say this. If you have no control if it happens to you? Yeah, you heard that right. What if you have no control? Somebody sent this to me a while ago, and I think it's pretty good to talk about. What if you're walking down the trail, hunting, and some entity 10,000 feet in the sky that you can't even see scans you? And they're looking for a white male, above 5'8", medium build, full head of hair, and that's all they want. What if you're that person? And what if they don't? What if they want somebody who's not carrying any electronics, and you don't have your personal locator beacon? You don't have your cell phone. Well, I think you're gone. Now, the new iPhones have a satellite transponder personal locator beacon built in. And Angie and I each got one. And besides that, we had our own personal locator beacons that we carried with us, and we're probably going to still carry them. But I think it's kind of interesting that iPhone put those on their phones. It's a good safety feature. We should all be using them. Next letter. Hey, Dave. Every time I hear and see of a child gone missing, it hits me in the gut like a burning hot punch. I recoil in anger, sometimes at God, and I know I shouldn't, but the cold callousness that must be behind these crimes against humanity makes me sick to my stomach. It's said that these acts, the taking of a human being against their will, is done by human beings. But those who are in possession of advanced technology, whose greed compels them to seek more technology from certain ET races so as to make these humans even more powerful. With the currency of the cosmos being our DNA, these so-called elite cowards trade the people they abduct for technology they sink. Or perhaps they trade them to the German nationals who are seeking some of their own to train and indoctrinate. I have this uneasy feeling that as the exposure of the truth begins to accelerate, that we will learn of some heinous, malevolent acts committed solely by human beings against human beings because of pure greed and the nature of these people, to capitalize on technology no matter what the cost. As we learn of these atrocities, we must do what Jesus did, turn our cheeks and forgive them. Utter amnesty to them so that they will expose to the stench and filth once and for all, so that humanity can move on to the right direction, and so our children can develop a world based in love and compassion for all. Nice thoughts. Dave, regarding Brayton Ackerman, I got a ton of email and letters about Brayton. As I did that case, I could imagine me sitting on that bridge with my kids. I could imagine the gut-wrenching foreverness of turning around and not seeing my boy there. No words. No words. Hey Dave, I have to try to broaden my thoughts with regard to things that I can't understand, as with the couple that claim to have lost their son in Idaho. I don't like those words. I've vetted these cases. Don't use that word claim about these parents. That's bull pucky. I don't like it. I hate to question the parents, but must. No, you don't need to question the parents. They're with their whole family, plus one outside the family was with them. I explained that in the video. You think all those kids are going to lie and say that, oh, Brayton wasn't there? Or you think the other person outside the family is going to say, oh, Brayton wasn't there? Brayton was there. Parents lost their son. What if we are in a simulation and we are data? The hard drive is life. We are allowed to see. The creator controls the laser that reads and can write the data. Errors will occur. Another laser or two could allow the approaching data to be seen, and another behind could see history. Corrections can be made. Some may see needs or wishes fulfilled. Some errors that must occur would be best confined to data that isn't involved in the moment, thereby creating at least damage. It seems most people have always had a certain fear of being alone. Perhaps there are entities that seek to cause trouble and attack isolated data for some purpose I don't see. Good thing I'm at home. This written at work would see a drug test scheduled. Many thanks to your patriotism and courage. I keep hoping the Teflon-coated evil ones will be exposed and America again prosperous and safe. Not going to happen while the peoples whose ancestors have a history with the Creator, and because of this, a little more is expected of them, are ignoring the Creator's handbook. Brayton. I think some people have a difficult time understanding how many people have really gone missing. And some people want to believe that it's just some bad parents that wanted to get rid of Brayton. No. Not everyone's bad. These parents, Brayton was probably 2 miles or less from home. Think about this. If you were the parents and You wanted to get rid of your child for whatever reason. And you were Braden's parents. And you take all of your kids and a family friend to this bridge, and you're all standing or sitting within 10 feet of each other. And the best friggin' story you can come up with, oh yeah, he was behind me 1 second, the next second I turn around, he's gone. And that's the story you're going to stick with? Really? Even though there's no place to go, there's no place in the field you could go, nobody heard a splash. That's the best story you could do. The point I'm trying to get at. The story is so odd. Anybody could make up a better story to get rid of their child. Come on, people, wake up. Next letter. Hey Dave, I'm guessing you have an analytical charted evidence log somewhere on the missing 411 cases. Asked because I have a question to you. Do you think the missing amount of people is going to get larger as time goes on, or is it going to... I think something odd is going on. There's more people missing now than there was 50 years ago. But there's more people going to the woods. There's more people going to the national parks. The number of people going to national parks is incrementally going up every year. And it's not just people from the US, it's people from all over the world coming here to see the beauty we have in the United States. It says, Dave, why I ask you this, do you think people aren't being abducted at all, but they're actually walking into an opening of a portal that just appears and disappears so quickly? People can go missing when the family or friends stood right next to each other. What if the void between two dimensions is breaking down and the granite rocks and water is part of the power, part of the machine science for operating a portal? Hence all the cluster zones appearing in specific locations. So why don't we see people from other dimensions coming into our world? That's the $1 million question. The story of the portal that opened on Skinwalker Ranch that they filmed by two men, that something came through, I think, with no head, crawled out. No, it had a head, but it was all part of the shoulders. It wasn't like a human head. And ran into the fields. Do you think he was trying to escape from another dimension or collapse? Little side note, Bigfoot to me is a lot human-like, likes to play tricks, throw rocks, etc. I wonder if Bigfoot has links to portals. Oh yeah. Next one. Firstly, great to see how much further you have come with your reach on YouTube, and where you also express other concerns that involve their country, state, and world. You express your true patriotism and a highly educated opinion, as well as point out facts where it applies as necessary. You dress up the information in both your research and position on issues with nothing more than the truth. The government media arm could learn a thing or two from your approach. I've followed you since 2010, which I think may have been before your YouTube channel. Could be wrong. I want to congratulate you on your success in your books as well as your documentary. And I was very excited about the Haunted UFO Connection. I think given the speculative nature of a lot of these disappearances and the nature of all of them, the UFO Connection makes sense, even if it doesn't fill in all the gaps as to what actually happened. I think with your research and the help of other great minds with you, and even your following who have come to logical conclusions together to point in the direction of these great mysteries. Well, thank you. Thank you. If you have a preconceived notion of how the ending is going to be, then it's going to be a pretty weak show. I don't. I let the evidence take me to the end. And as long as myself and our partners on the crew all agree that this is the direction it's going, we're going to keep going that way. Hey Dave, you're well within your rights to question their methodology on Skinwalker Ranch. The show's ridiculousness is rehashing old material. The master of common sense, as you are, you raise basic concerns which makes me question the overall integrity and motives of this group at the time. If one were seeking to get to the bottom of the matter, one would use all available technology at one's disposal, assuming that they were not told to back off, in which case they'd be backpedaling as they are. We all know that the repetition of conduct with no change in results is Webster's definition of insanity. So here we find ourselves, so-called bright scientists with access to all kinds of advanced technology at their disposal, and they have stalled in Skinwalker quicksand and cannot get out. So what will they do now? Spin their wheels and come up with even more incredible stories, or switch to full-on pseudoscience in an attempt to save face while shooting themselves in the foot? I care about these people, and if they're selling out, they need to talk to the military or DOJ immediately. And they need to tell us, the people, the truth. Remember, half-truth is still a whole lie. Humanity now demands truth in all life's aspects. There will be no room for liars. David, you set a tough standard to follow, and there is nothing worse than seeing a professional's license be attacked and rendered null and void simply because they sold their souls. Prometheus Entertainment is a producer for Skinwalker Ranch. They were the producer for Vanished, which I did a 2-hour special for the History Channel. I've also done several appearances on Prometheus's shows. Unexplained, Ancient Aliens, a bunch of others. A lot of people think that Skinwalker Ranch is a scripted show. I guarantee 100% fact it is not a scripted show. You guys don't have any idea what you're saying. A scripted show means that people have to follow a routine, they have to say certain things. These people are not actors. If they were actors and it was scripted, they'd get Academy Awards for how well they're doing. But that's not the case. You're saying things you have no idea, no idea about. Now, let me say, I haven't been happy with the last 2 shows. But I'm not the boss. I'm not a consultant. I'm not an assistant director. I'm not even a runner for the show. I'm nobody, and they don't care what I think. So, I'm a big fan of a lot of the people that are on that show, though. They're good people, and they're trying to do the good thing. So, let's move on. Missing people. Yes, missing people, folks. Now, I don't do cases on missing people where they just disappear. They have to match a specific profile. This is important. And if they don't match the profile, then they're not in my books, and I move on. Now, the cases I'm going to talk to you today are very strange. Very strange. First one, LoganSchiendelman, 20 years old, missing May 19th, 2016. He's missing on Interstate 5 in Washington between Tumwater and Maytown. I've been on that section of road many times. So, here is the map. This is Olympia, Washington. This is Interstate 5. Goes right through the heart of Washington all the way to Portland. And he disappeared between Tumwater and Maytown in this section of road. Very, very wild wilderness through here. Very strange place to vanish. And waters nearby. Now this is Logan. 20 years old. He graduated from Tumwater High School, played football. He was a really good student. Logan was raised by his maternal grandmother. He graduated from high school, went to Washington State University for his first year. It's about 300 miles from home, and he didn't do good. So after that first year, he came back. He drove a 1996 black Chrysler Sebring convertible. The plate is AVJ8434. Now, Logan is not a criminal. Logan was a good person. He never really did anything wrong. Everybody described him as quiet, almost introverted, helpful. Well, when he came back from school, his grandmother said that he started smoking a lot of weed. And on the morning of May 19th, 2016, his grandmother said he seemed nervous. And he told his grandmother, who he loved very much and was very close to, that he recently had an epiphany about himself. Those are interesting words. Well, it was that morning that the grandmother went to work, and that was the last time she saw Logan. Now, she hadn't heard from him, and it was early in the morning on the following morning, May 20th. And she pings Logan's phone because she had that ability. And it showed that the phone was near Olympia, Washington on Interstate 5. Well, on May 20th, about 2 p.m., 3 people called 911 and said that Logan's car was slowly crossing 3 lanes of traffic and hitting a barrier at the side of the road and stopped. Well, those 911 calls prompted a response from the Washington State Troopers. Troopers got there, and there were some rumors that 2 white men were seen jumping from the car when it hit the barrier. That's weird. Highway Patrol gets there, and they find Logan's wallet in the front seat with $25 in cash, a debit card. His cell phone was sitting on the front seat. Keys were in the ignition, and there was a grocery bag in the middle of the front seat with snacks in it and his water bottle. So the Highway Patrol runs a license plate, determines that somebody is missing. It's Logan. So they call for a canine trooper, helicopters, planes, and for 2 days they searched the area around that car back into the woods for 2 miles. This is in Thurston County, Washington. Thurston County Detective Frank Frawley, this was a quote of his: "This case bothers me big time. It's what keeps me up at night," end of quotes. 2 years later, Discovery ID Channel runs a special on Logan because it's so unusual. Now, Logan had a grandma, and he also had an aunt, his mom's sister, that owned a farm. And Logan would go out and work on the farm. And his great aunt said that he was quiet and sensitive and very helpful and someone they liked to have around on the farm. Well, that's a pretty good statement for somebody. I wouldn't mind being said I was like that. Sounds polite. Eventually, on May 23rd, 2016, a missing persons report is filed on Logan. They had the car. They knew where the car was last seen. There were some rumors that Logan was seen talking to a couple white guys on the side of the road near that area. All of it was rumor. Nothing was confirmed. Except, this happened on May 19th, 2016. 7 days later, May 26th, 3 days after he's reported missing, someone logged into Logan's Facebook account at Olympia Regional Airport. Well, that was just north of where he was at. Odd. They couldn't figure out who could have or why would anybody. Everybody said that Logan loved his grandmother, and his grandmother loved Logan. She did a really good job raising this young man. She last saw him the morning of May 19th. And again, he made that statement about he had an epiphany about himself. And again, next time you're going up I-5, between Maytown and Tumwater, there's a stretch of road, very rural, nothing really there, but a lot of woods. Now, I bring up Logan's case because I first read about it 4 or 5 years ago. And I thought, oh, they're going to find him in the woods. They never found him. The rumors are, online, they say, well, he was maybe depressed, suicidal. No evidence of that. And the sheriff also said there's no evidence of foul play. There's no evidence of anything. Canines couldn't pick up a track, no scent. They found no clothes. They found nothing in the fields around the car. Think about this. Robbery was not a motive. His wallet and $25 was sitting in the front seat, along with a bag of groceries, snacks. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know what happened to Logan, but it bothers me too, because he was a good kid. And I know that they had a GoFundMe account. They put up a $1,000 reward for information leading about him. LoganSchiendelman. Next story. This man, this is a weird case. Very weird case. His name is John Davis, 48 years old. Missing on October 24th, 2021. Highway 62 at the 8 Mile Bridge in Covelo, far northern California. He was camping and hunting with his son near that bridge. Just so everyone kind of knows the area, this is Willits, California, right here. This is Highway 101. Goes up through the middle of California, heads towards the coast. This is Laytonville. Here's where 162 forks off. The bridge is right near Dos Rios. Here's Covelo. And then right through this area is the Eel River. So let me say something about the Eel River. I spent a lot of time on it when I was in California. The eel is known as a really good steelhead and salmon fishing river in the winter, because when the river rises with rain, it breaks the sandbar at the ocean, flows through, and allows the fish to come up the river and spawn. Really a picturesque river. Much of the time the highway follows the river going up to Crescent City and Eureka area. The river is filled with huge boulders. in many places. And in the area where this happened, a lot of huge boulders. So John took his son and they went camping. And they were going to go hunting and camping. It was October 24th. It was deer hunting season. So they put their tent down next to the Eel River and they go to sleep. October 23rd, 2021. Early in the morning, they both wake up because water is coming into their tent. Not good. Well, it's also pouring rain outside. The eel has a habit of rising quickly in heavy rain. This is what happened. So, in the middle of the night, John tells his son, hey, you go up to the car. I'm going to relocate the tent. I'll be up there. Son says, okay, goes up to the car, crawls in, falls asleep. Wakes up the next morning. His dad's not in the car. Can't find him. Goes down, looks around the river. Can't find him. So, he goes and gets some help. Mendocino County Sheriffs come out. The sheriffs get there. They immediately call for search and rescue. And a bunch of people with red coats, searchers, start showing up. And they realize this is going to be a strange one. They said they knew this right away. Because they couldn't find any evidence of John being around there. Well, they called for CanAm unit. They called for Mendocino County Sheriffs. They called for additional services. They called for Contra Costa County Sheriffs, Placer, Sonoma, San Mateo, Napa, Nevada. All of those counties responded for searchers, including the Air National Guard of California came in with a Sikorsky helicopter and searched 8 miles downstream under the belief that John may have fallen in. Now, the Eel River, in places you could cross it pretty easy. Other areas you couldn't. There was some talk maybe John crossed the river to get a real early morning start on the hunt. Wacky thought, because he told his son he'd be back at the car. Well, a 4-day search and rescue found nothing. Well, the searchers and the sheriff started to think, well, he must have fallen in the river. So they up the ante, start searching more downstream. And then on December 5th, they have a secondary search. And they go further downriver with helicopters, drones, everything you can imagine, and they're not finding anything. Well, the family then posts $1,000 reward through the GoFundMe site. And they brought in more searchers as the year went on. Now, in the summer months, the Eel River flows to a trickle. I've seen it where it's barely flowing at all. So the idea that you wouldn't find a body is ridiculous. You'd find it. So this happened in 2021. It's 2023. We've gone through an entire summer. John wasn't found. How could that be? It makes no sense at all. Well, then the family reported something really odd. They said that they started to get strange messages on their phone saying somebody was holding John hostage and they wanted a ransom. I've heard of some wacky stuff in searches. I never heard of that. Never heard of that. And apparently Mendocino County Sheriffs couldn't get to the bottom of it. It's also an FBI case if they wanted to, but I didn't read anything about the FBI being involved. Now, this area of Northern California is famous for marijuana growing. And Mendocino, Humboldt, Those counties up in there, famous for growing marijuana. And the sheriff even said, be respectful of property owners' rights, don't tread on private property. Well, as the searchers were out searching, guess what happened? Searchers get shot at. They're wearing bright red pullovers that say searcher, and they get shot at. That's what I'm saying. A lot of crazy stuff goes on up there. So they pulled back. And in the summer of 2022, they went through it and walked the river, walked the banks, brought in cadaver dogs. Nothing. Now, I don't know what happened here. Do I think John went in the river? No. I don't believe it. Because I believe they would have found his body in the riverbank, in the river. But they haven't. Now, is it possible that a grower somewhere thought maybe John was there to steal a crop and took him hostage? You know, I suppose it could happen, but that's a dangerous proposition. I would fathom to guess that the more likely thing that would happen under those conditions, they'd kill you and bury you somewhere, and nobody would talk about it. A lot of the grows up in that area are done by Mexican cartels. They're dangerous people. I personally have been in those areas when I was doing Bigfoot research, and I was confronted by 3 guys on a trail one time. And they kind of half surrounded me, and I kept backing up because I didn't want anyone behind me. I had a gun. They didn't know that. One of the guys had a rifle. And they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Just going on a hike." I was in a state park. "Well, you shouldn't be here." I go, "Did I get lost or something, or is this a state park?" "What did I tell you? You shouldn't be here." "Okay, I'm leaving." And I just slowly backed up on the trail, saw them turn around and go, and I left. Got back to my car, and I stumbled onto a California State Police officer that patrols the parks, and I told him who I was and what just happened. And he said, "Damn." He shook his head. He goes, "We've had this a lot lately. Someone's going to get killed up there, and we've got to stop this." And he goes, "We don't have enough deputies to go up there safely and really root these guys out." He goes, it's been happening a lot." I'm thinking to myself, what? Call the sheriff and get 20 guys and let's go in there and let's root these idiots out. What if a family goes walking up there and these fools confront them? I was mad. So what happened to John Davis? 48 years old. I have no idea. Something unusual. Obviously water. They're hunters. Point of separation. Right after the sun walked away, something weird happened. And I know that the family is in deep anxiety about it, and I feel very bad for them. They're still searching for their father and son. So, those are the stories for today, folks. I want you to remember that these are real people. And a lot of grief goes on. And remember, missing persons website, CanAm, like Canadian American, CanAmMissing.com. You can buy all my books, buy DVDs and Blu-rays for my movie at our store, online store at NA, like North America, NABigfootsearch.com. You can't buy the DVDs and Blu-rays anywhere else. Don't ever buy my books online. You'll pay 3 or 4 times what I charge on my website. Yeah, right now they're asking $100 or $150 per book. Don't do it. My site, $25. Thanks for being here. Please share this on your social media. Be kind. Do something nice for someone in your community today. Paulides out.